Continue. All right. Okay. Phew. Now I'm really nervous. I don't know why. Because I'm in the presence of the great Nick Yerhart.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
All right. Thank you so much, Nick, for being here today. We're on Wisdom on the Front Porch, and I love that my special guest today is Nick Yerhart, who has his own podcast called Infinite Abilities, which I love the title. Nick, how
Thank
are
you.
you?
I'm great, and thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to this.
Well, thank you. It is truly my honor to have you here. You were my guest when I was doing the Value in You show, and I appreciate you taking the time to come back again for this whole new audience and those that followed with me for Wisdom on the Front Porch. We've got both our e-magazine and print magazine. You're welcome to subscribe to either of those, and I just really love being able to talk with you, to talk with leaders in the entrepreneur world and find out the lifestyle, what it's like. So let me hear your why. Why do you, Nick, out of all the things you could be doing in this world, why do you choose to do what you do?
So I choose to do what I do because I've had a disability called cerebral palsy my whole life, and that made it where I had a lot of challenges growing up, and I still face a lot of challenges. But what I realized is the challenges are good. You know, everything happens for me, so I have control. I can do what I want as long as I put my mind to it, and I think that's so powerful because I see a lot of people that are holding themselves back because they don't believe they can do something. And I'm here to spread the word that you you can only fail if you give up. So just
Yeah,
give it a go and see what happens.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I've been hearing time and time again. In fact, I say it quite often is there is no failure. It is something that didn't work and you're
Mhm.
learning from it. What did you learn from it? Write it down. In my book that I have, 35 days, and I've already put it back on the shelf. 35-day journal. And somebody said, why 35 days? It's like, well, because maybe you don't have your next one before the month ends. Some months have 28. 35 just gives you a nice rounded number just to keep going and overlap. But in there, I have a question. What didn't work today? What are two things that didn't work? But I don't stop there. I also ask, what did you do about it? What did you learn from it? What can you use to go on? Um, and that's really great because it takes us out of this, oh man, I really blew it. I did a horrible thing. And
Yeah.
you're not stuck in there.
Hmm.
You're able to look at it objectively and say, okay, well, all right, so something went wrong. It didn't work. But why? Why didn't it work? And
Yeah.
contemplate that and go a little bit deeper. Okay, it didn't work because blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, that's really good, but tell me again why it didn't work. And you
Hmm.
go a little bit deeper until sometimes you might have to do it 5 times before you really realize, oh, this was the real problem.
Hmm.
I know
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of feedback, negative feedback in my brain from that's for other people. That's not for
Hmm.
you. Just because of things I'm going through and challenges that I'm facing. And I hear, well, maybe it's really not for you. It's like these little snakes whispering in your ear, and their tongues are
Yeah.
trying to tickle you and getting you
Yeah.
distracted so you don't go forward. And it's like, why not for me? I
Hmm.
am worthy. I'm enough. As I tell my audience quite often is you have great value in you. That value
Hmm.
makes you worthy, and that worth and value make you enough. So why not me? And so you pursue it. You take that step to go forward and step out of there. Um, and if you've come through a lot of trauma, things from childhood. Me, I've got 60 years of being told how worthless I was. Not completely all the time, but it's
Mhm.
kind of been a steady thing. It's like, no, that's other people. You don't need to do that. And it's like, why not?
Yeah.
So that's a lot to get through, but it's not impossible. I was
No,
just
it's
yeah, I was thinking today that Steve Harvey talks about you're already 100% success. Look at all the hard stuff, the almost insurmountable things you've gone through,
Mhm.
but they're behind you, you
Mhm.
know? So you've already 100% success.
Yeah, and to go off of that, that's something that I've been doing recently. It's like, as I build my business, I keep facing more challenges, and I'm like,
Mhm.
this is hard, this is tough. But then I stop and go, okay, what have I gone through in my life already? Oh, this circumstance I'm in right now is definitely not hard compared to what I've already gone through. I can do
Yeah.
this. This is not going to be hard. And then you get in the mindset of I can do this. It's not
Yeah.
hard, and just work through it, and you will get through it. And
Yeah.
I think that's important for people to look at. Like, yeah, life is hard. You're gonna face challenges your whole life, whether you like it or not. That's just
Yeah.
how it is. But when you can stop to look at, okay, is this actually that hard, or am I just getting caught up in my mind? And
Mm.
my mind is stopping me because I know
Yeah.
that has happened to me a lot. I get so caught up in my mind, I don't do anything, and then it's like a snowball effect, and then it's like now you gotta dig yourself out of a hole, which is even harder to do. So let's just not get to that point and just
Yeah.
focus on being positive and doing whatever we can.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's what are you telling yourself? Even though you're
Hmm.
going forward, you're pushing through it. Inside your mind, this battle may still be going on. And
Yep.
it's like, you've got to stop that. A friend of mine said, you need to capture those thoughts. And
Hmm.
for years, I never understood what that meant. And as I've been going into doing my own business, writing books, helping other people get their books published, that thought keeps coming back. Now I know what it means to capture that thought. As soon as it's in there, you don't say, oh, I can't do this. It's so hard. Or you say, I can do this even though it's hard. Or it's like, I can do this. Doesn't matter whether it's hard or not. I know I
Hmm.
can do this. I know I'm going to learn because a lot of it is things that we've never done before. So we're going
Yep.
through a learning process.
Yep.
And what do you do if you're trying to train for a triathlon or an Ironman or even just a 5K, in your neighborhood? You train, you build it
Hmm.
up. If you're going to the gym, you build up your muscles so you've got
Hmm.
strength. I love the commercial or the I don't know what it is, the inspiration that shows this old hand picking up one of those. I don't know the name of it. It's a ball that has a handle and it's heavy and they're different
Yeah.
weights. And then eventually you see this older gentleman lifting this up every day. And then you see he has a picture of his granddaughter and he's lifting this up every day. And it goes through, I think, a whole year. And at the end of the year, his granddaughter runs to him and he's able to pick her up
Hmm.
and hold her. That's what the whole thing was about, was he was able to pick her up and hold her. And it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, that's why we do it. And yes, it is hard. And yes, you may want to quit and your muscles are going to hurt. Your brain's going to
Hmm.
hurt because you're working at doing things you haven't done before. But once you've got that done, you've got
Hmm.
it. I
Hmm.
mean, that is yours. It doesn't matter. Anything else doesn't matter. And that moment can't be taken away from you. It's yours. You need to claim it.
Yeah, and I love learning new skills. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like, at first it's scary. You don't know what you're doing. You think you're gonna mess it up. And, I'll tell you firsthand, just mess it up and figure it out. Like,
Yes.
it's okay. It will be okay. You can work through the problems later. Just mess it up, figure out what works for you. But, like, the cool thing is the more things that I learned how to do, the more confident in myself I get, and then
Yeah.
the better at those things I get because I continue to do them over and over and over. I don't just do something once. I never
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
something one time. I always do it multiple times. So then I learn it. I learned how to do it for myself. And then you can go on to teach somebody else how to do that and then
Yeah.
help them. And then what's cool is when you help one person with something, they're going to help somebody else. So, but by you helping
Absolutely.
one person, you might be helping hundreds of people. So I like that concept of learn something, get it down, and then teach it to somebody else.
Yeah. It's kind of the starship or starfish. I don't call them starfish. They're actually called sea stars because they're not a fish.
Mm.
That's a marine biology thing. But where the story of the little kid that picks up the sea star and throws it out to the water, and somebody says, "Why do you do that? There's thousands of them here," and it's like, well, it helps this one,
Mhm.
and then it's going to help this one, and if those sea stars could go help the others, they would do it.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
it's just, even if it's one, it's so worth it because now
Mhm.
you've given that real tangible hope to
Mhm.
somebody else, and who knows where that can go. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
that's yeah, I love that. I love that. um so Nick, we still have about 10-15 minutes,
Mhm.
but what is it that you really do besides being so encouraging and uplifting to people? What's your title?
Yeah. So my title is I'm a coach. So I'm a life coach, and that's where I focus a lot on mindset, confidence, and basically figuring out how to improve your life. Just
Yeah.
get to that next step to start a better life. And that's all good. That's fun. It's good to help people. What I am really passionate about right now, though, is I'm basically a podcast coach. So I help people either start the podcast or grow the podcast and figure out ways to make it work for the business, which is really fun. And that kind of ties into my other thing, which I'm a certified 10x business coach with Grant Cardone. So I have all the tools and resources to help business owners grow and scale. So I can use that knowledge that I have and those tools to help people with their podcasts also, which the whole focus of the podcast is to generate more revenue for your business, which in return means you're helping more people, which is what I'm all about.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, and coaching people in their life. When your life improves, everything else you do improves. It's
It does.
it's just a
Yeah,
ripple effect.
yeah.
It really is. Oh, that's great. That's great.
And
So what do
it doesn't matter if you are a life coaching client of mine or a, a business coaching client of mine. The first thing that we start with is mindset, because
Mhm.
mindset is everything. That's the first thing we go over.
Yeah.
That's every time. So,
Yes.
because you have to get your mindset right about either your life or your business or both.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know I didn't realize it was even a challenge until it really happened.
Mhm.
And it still is something that I struggle with because of the pressure I put on myself. And that pressure isn't always a positive thing to get me motivated and go on, but it's comparing with others. I
Yeah.
remember the first 6 months I had, I'm just so frustrated because I have all these things that I expected me to be doing at the end of 6 months,
Yeah.
and it wasn't happening.
Mhm.
And but I stopped and looked, and it's like, You can't compare yourself to what these other people are doing, because come to find out, those people had not just been doing it for the 6 months like I had. They've been doing it 2 to 10 years before,
Yep.
and they've gotten all of that to put through. I was like
Yeah.
a baby fresh out of the cocoon or the cabbage patch, however you want to talk to it. Stork
Yeah.
just dropped me off, and I'd only had those 6 months to grow. I didn't have those years, and all that experience and the knowledge from others. And that makes a big difference. And I think it's so important. And you mentioned, that you're a coach. We need coaches and mentors to keep us
Yeah.
going. We need the coach that helps guide us. Have you tried this? Have you doing this? We need the mentors who say, here's a great coach, or there's a great coach. And it's like, well, where are you really going to? And there is a difference between a mentor and a coach. Even though it
Hmm.
can be the same person, there's still a difference in how you
Yeah.
interact with them and what you do. And
Yep.
I know you're a great coach.
Well, and I want to tell the audience this: like, if you have a coach right now and they don't have their own coach, you need to get a new coach.
Yeah.
Like me, I currently have 4 coaches
Nice.
because I always want to keep improving myself. I
Yeah.
don't meet with all 4, regularly, but I can call them up whenever I need help. They'll get on a call and help me through whatever problem I'm having. And
Yeah.
that's important because that's going to feed into how I coach my clients.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
I
that's
want to
true.
be, I want to be on top of my game, or I like to say one step ahead of my client. I just gotta be
There
at
you go.
least one step ahead because then I can grow and I can show them how to grow along
Yes.
with me, and I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, that is, it was like the analogy I gave when I was first starting out. And it was, I don't need to be the most smart about everything there is. I just need to be 2 steps ahead of you. So I can
Hmm.
help you get up to those 2 steps. And if you
Yeah.
get to those 2 steps and just take off and soar, then more power to you, because that's what it's
Hmm.
about. It's
Yeah.
about helping the others out there. I think John Maxwell talks about this. I know there's others that talk about it, is you need to be giving, 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 helping
Hmm.
others. That's really what you're there about, because in the process, you are learning how to help others, which means you're
Hmm.
learning how to help yourself. You're learning
Yeah.
how to get them to their goals, which means you've learned how to get to your goals.
Yep.
You can't teach something you don't know. You really
Yeah.
can't. I've heard the saying, those who don't know teach, and it's like, well, that doesn't work that way. Um, because you can't teach what you don't know. You have to go study up on it. When I
Hmm.
started homeschooling my kids, it's like some of the books they had, I didn't know what the books were talking about. So I would have to go learn about it. I would have to understand what they're talking about so I could guide my kids. Once they got past my my knowledge and whatnot, especially in math, I found
Hmm.
tutors for them. I found the mentor or the coach
Yeah.
that they needed so they could keep going. Um, and that made a huge difference
Hmm.
in them. And it made a difference in their confidence, because now they've learned this part. And because I'm finding someone to help them go further, they're like, wow, I've surpassed mom. I've surpassed my teacher. And now I'm getting
Hmm.
another teacher so I can get better for that. And
Yeah.
it's yeah, it was tough homeschooling, but it was so worth it. So
Yep.
but that's another show.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now? Are you just coaching? I'm not meaning just, but are you coaching, you're mentoring? Do you have any special events or anything coming up?
Yep. I'm not doing events yet. I've been
Okay.
thinking about doing one here within the next month, but I gotta
Oh,
work out
good.
the details and see how that's gonna look. But I also might just commit to it and set a date, and then I'll figure it out because I feel like that's when I get the most stuff done is when I just commit, and then it's
Yes.
like, okay, I have to figure it out, so I figure it out. I kind of like doing that more. But what I'm focused on is, growing my podcast because I love it. It's geared towards entrepreneurs and my ideal clients. So I get to talk to a lot of people who could become my client, and
Mhm.
I vice versa. I'm talking to people that I need their help. So
Yeah.
I've had people on the show that I became their client because
Awesome.
like, oh, I need your service. So yeah, it's so awesome the people you meet, and I've had so many opportunities open up because of my podcast. I get on a call with someone, they're like, hey, I want you to come speak at my event. All right, awesome, let's go. So
Awesome.
I, yeah, I love podcasting. So I'm kind of all in on that because at the same time, I'm learning, I'm figuring out what works, and then I can bring on clients to help them with their podcast. And like we were saying, I know I'm at least one step ahead, so now I can help my clients.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I've got a speaking event coming up in September, just a few weeks, and
Hmm.
the title of my talk is Dangerous Purpose.
Ooh,
And I am
that
having
sounds
so much fun with that.
good. That sounds so intriguing. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I just watch. It's like when you finally make that choice,
Hmm.
you're kind of like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And then you finally says, what, that's what I'm gonna do. Sometimes you just got to make the choice and just
Yep.
start going for it. And maybe you need to change the title or something later on, if you're giving a talk. But
Hmm.
but you just got to make the choice and then you go and then all these other things start happening. In fact, just last night, and I was watching it again this morning, this real short little clip from Michael Faber on Facebook, and he's talking about dangerous purpose. And it's like, oh, so of course it
Hmm.
caught my ear. And I
Yeah.
loved what he said. I'm not going to tell anybody. You're going to have to listen to my talk to find out, or go find him on Facebook.
Yeah.
but, um, but it's just the way that that energy flows. You've got your brain waves or whatever you want to call it, that once you've made that decision, um it all starts flowing together, things start attracting to you, and it's
Hmm.
wonderful. It's the way to do it.
Yeah, and I like what you're talking about because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, you got lucky," or that person got lucky. It's not about luck. It's about the more action I take, the luckier I get. That's all it
Yeah.
is. Take more
Yeah.
action, you'll see more results, and you'll figure things out a lot quicker because you're taking a lot of action.
Yeah, and the opportunities are all out there. You just
Yeah,
can't see them because you haven't done anything yet. What,
exactly.
you know, it's I talk about baby steps, and that sounds really awful. I'm not a baby, I'm an adult, I'm in a business, I'm making it grow. What am I doing? Baby steps. Well,
Yep.
baby steps just mean you're taking one step at a time. And
Hmm.
because if you take a whole bunch of steps, if you leap or whatever, you're going to miss those key things that you're going to need to build that
Yep.
solid foundation, to keep it
Yep.
going, to keep growing, to build out onto other things. And when you're taking those one step at a time, all of a sudden you see what's been out there all along. You see those
Hmm.
opportunities, or all of a sudden they come to you, to where before
Hmm.
they were out there. But if you put opposite ends of a magnet together, you can't get them. But if you put the correct ends of the magnet together, they just automatically smoosh
Yep.
together, I guess. Kiss a magnet. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, what a difference. And it is, and you are going to have days. There are going to be days when you're down, when you're,
Hmm.
maybe you're just worn out, or you haven't been eating
Hmm.
right or something, or maybe you've just had so much on you that you're just tired of it. It's like, I
Yeah,
know why I'm doing
and
this, but do I want to keep doing it? Go
and
ahead.
that's one thing, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we tend to forget about ourselves.
Yes.
And this becomes a disaster. I know from experience. You need to take care of yourself first, before the business, before your clients, before your family. Take care of yourself first. Make sure that you are in optimal performance. Make
Yeah.
sure you have your routine. Make sure you're getting up when you should. Make sure that you're eating right. Make sure you're eating at all. Because I know I've had days where I go to bed and it's like, oh crap, I didn't eat today. Yeah, so like you gotta
Yeah.
make sure. So going along with that, take care of yourself because you can't take care of other people if you're not taking care of yourself. Just like
That's
on the
right.
airplane, when they say put your oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else. Same thing with your business.
Absolutely.
Put your mask on first. Make sure that you are good yourself, and then go out and make a difference in your business, your family, and and the world. You know.
Yeah. For those who are listening, I mean, isn't this just great wisdom from Nick? He's just such a good coach.
Well,
I
thank
know I
you.
should promote myself more, but you know what? When you're here, Nick, I just got to promote you.
Well, it's okay
I
because
love it.
I we did a podcast with you on my podcast,
There you
and
go.
that's where we promoted you. It's not my turn.
That's right. That's right. So, for those who are listening, I am
Yep.
going to give you a little sneak peek into what Nick and I are going to do together.
Yeah, there we go. I'm excited.
Here we go. So, Nick, how many podcasts are you planning to do this next year?
Let's just say 52.
Uh, well, I'm going to do 108.
Oh, really? Well, I guess I could do 225.
Oh, really? Are
Yeah,
you up for a challenge, Nick?
I am. I am.
Awesome. So, so Nick and I are doing a challenge. We're starting on September 9th. It's going to go through September 8th of 2025. And we're going to see who can have the most guests, not just any guests, but quality guests for our podcast in 1 year. So join us. Keep watching for our little post every month. We'll put up a new little comic book looking post on how many podcasts we've had that month and see who
Mhm.
wins.
And you're going down.
Yeah, we'll just see about that. Nick, thank you so much for being on my show. I love that we
Of course.
can share and laugh and just really feed our audience and give them the
Mhm.
value and tell us real quick, how can people get a hold of you?
So just go on any social media platform, type in Nick Yerhart, that's Yerhart, and I will pop up. If I don't, I apologize. You can also go to my website, nickyerhart.com, and if you want to talk to me, there'll be a little window that says schedule a call. You can schedule a call.
Awesome. That's awesome. And you could find me, your host, here on Wisdom on the Front Porch, lskirkpatrick.com. And you can also find me on social medias. And I just thank you again, Nick. It's just such my honor to have you on my show and to speak with you.
Thank you. It was really great. And everyone listening, remember your abilities are infinite.
That's right. And you have great value. You are worthy. You are enough. And what you have to say does matter. We'll see you next time on Wisdom on the Front Porch.